Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're here with Rex Lassalle and Kristen Thomas. Rex is in Finland. We're here in Charlottesville, Virginia. And we're here to talk a little bit about the Orinoco Flows community and the Child Star. So I just wanted to take a moment to introduce Kristen, who's going to be receiving just a miniature reading from Rex on her Child Star number. So our audience and listeners can get an idea of what the Child Star is and a flavor of what the Orinoco Flows community is going to offer people, which is a space that we've put together for healing and coming into relationship with your Child Star. So Rex, if you want to take it away from here.
Thank you very much, Christiana, for introducing us. And thank you, Kristen, for being here.
Thank you.
And from your birthday, correct me if if I get it, it's not correct. It's the 22nd of January, 1981. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
All right. And the system that I am using, that I work with, comes from Japan. It's called the 9-Star Key Astrology. I have been with this work for over 4 decades. I've written, books about it. And in the last 10 years, my focus has become more drawn to the Child Star as I see how potent it is in our lives as regards our subconscious mind and our emotional needs. So having a relatedness with our Child Star makes a big difference. Yes, in life we have challenges, it's part of life. And having the companion of our Child Star being very present and us cultivating that relationship with it, it helps to make things smoother and it facilitates better oxytocin levels in our being. So this is at the core of it. And so Kristen, for you, from your birth date, you carry the pattern of the 2 Earth as an adult, and your Child Star is the 9 Fire. This comes from a 9-star key calendar. As we begin the community, to have more, members in the new year, we will get into more of those details and calendars would be sent out and things like that. So we're working with a 9 Fire Child Star in your situation. Your pattern carries the same pattern as Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey has a 2 Earth as an adult and 9 Fire as a child. The 9 Fire as a child is someone who, being in the limelight or being on stage or sharing their skill set with the world, is something that nourishes them. The thing about it, though, at times is that the woman has to fight for that. Sometimes it's not a given. Sometimes it's, because, okay, it's all out there. You could read her biography. She was raped, okay, and all of these things. Plus, they fired her from being an announcer in a radio station. I don't know where their heads were as regards, so she couldn't communicate, etc., etc. So the owning of that is very, so I'm sharing it with you more in a sense of in a career context. There are many contexts we can look at, okay? But I'm just kind of putting it in that area as I'm aware that, you work in the realm of acupuncture, you work in the realm of healing. And so it's, aspects of your career. So my question to you, let me, any comments you want to share before I, ask some questions and we start sort of unfolding where time takes us or where the Orinoco takes us with your reading, because the Orinoco flows, that river is an integral part of what our community is about. It carries a healing presence, and it's very much at the core of my ancestral links come from that area. And my father's mother was an indigenous woman from the Orinoco Basin. So all of that is present. I'm not going to get into those details now, but anyway, I'm just letting you know that. So when I'm speaking about that, I'm not speaking about it like some projection from my head. It's part of my being. So anyhow, enough talk from me. Let me hear you with your comments or questions as we let the river flow here now.
Let the river flow. So I'll just say that actually my career that I'm currently doing is actually in the wine business. And I do feel that like presence of when I'm like in front of people, when I'm doing wine dinners, I just like blossom. That's like where I love to be. I love to teach. The acupuncture thing, I'm not currently practicing because I haven't finished all of my boards, but the same thing applies to it. I think wine and acupuncture, you would never think of the two curriculums being
That they even interface.
connected. But I think what I love about both Chinese medicine and wine is that I will never know it all. And I'm always a beginner. I'm always a learner. I'm always a student in it. And I love to teach it, at least the pieces of it that I know and that have come to me. So the same thing when I was treating with acupuncture and coming through grad school and all of that, I always loved telling and explaining it because it's kind of an esoteric field of how it's going to help. What are they feeling? What are they experiencing? And like integrated it so that they can understand it. So again, like that teaching aspect. But I think that sometimes both are a struggle in that I'm always like, I feel like I'm always trying to convince or persuade or through that teaching. So it's always, it feels like I'm kind of like this sometimes. And sometimes it lands with people really beautifully and they come and they say really great things. But other times I feel like it's kind of like like a frustration sort of.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So this question comes up to ask you. So what happened? You would have been 9 years. We're dealing with 1990. We're dealing in the period in the autumn, like September period, something like that. Was there some family situation or some social situation that sort of, twisted your head?
in 1990.
Yep, you'd have been 9 years of age.
Let me think. Gosh. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder that one for a minute.
All right. So what's on my okay, so what's kind of and listening to you and what you're sharing or what you're talking about, the word permission, how does that word land for you? Where is that word in your life? Permission, like be it from your parents, be it you with yourself, that word permission, what's that for you?
Permission. I think that there was a period, I'm just trying to think back with my folks, kind of in how they had very different approaches in raising me. My brother, my dad was always the person that was like, go live life, go travel, go experience, go this. And my mom was always the one that was like, no, stay close, don't go away, don't leave too far. So she was kind of the one that was very, I don't want to say she held me back, but she was definitely always wanted me, her flock, to be close. So I think that might be a little bit of that. I don't know if that rings a bell at all.
Sure, of course. I mean, the aspect of that self-expression, because the nine fasts are the whole aspect of your self-expression, that you're just out there and the world is your oyster and you're just doing it, and that you have challenges, for sure. That's a given.
Yeah.
But in the sense of that fire is just rolling and action is taken, which, when you look at, and do not hear when I speak about Oprah Winfrey that one has to copy that, but there are certain things at times you see in certain personalities' lives that the dots, you can sort of extract certain dots and also see how you can navigate with those dots with your own life. So it's in that way I'm talking about it, rather than that is a role model for you to embrace. I'm not in any way suggesting that, but I'm just giving the aspect of the challenges she faced at the beginning as regards, well, you can't do that. And who said that? I mean, because this was some of her early periods of life. So in other words, your father saying, just go for it, just do it. And your mother saying, well,
Mm-hmm.
stay close or whatever. Freeing yourself from that, my sense is would be a key part. And the other question that I have around that, which is the word deserving. Where does that word land for you when I say deserving?
Yeah, that's always been kind of a hard one.
In what way you mean that, Kristen?
I think that, geez, how do I even put that into words? It seems so simple, right? Deserving. I feel like I've always been a super hard worker. I've always, in all aspects of my life. And I feel like, well, gosh, why is it such a struggle all the time? Like, don't I deserve more? Don't I deserve da 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 da, whatever it may be in whatever aspect of my life? Because I try, I work, I love people, I take care of people, but it's like, why is there always like a struggle there? So maybe around that, maybe.
Yeah, but your words, and stay with me, and none of this, these are just observations. And so please, although with my questions, they are intrusive, but they are intrusive in the sense of coming home, finding pathways of coming home to yourself and embracing yourself in a way that nourishes you. And in speaking about deserving, you use the word at times, am I not deserving? I'm trying. Those words to the subconscious mind are not words that are uplifting.
Yeah, they're not clear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the aspect of like, Kristen deserves, the celebration of her career. Kristen deserves the accolades of her skill set. Can you get how I mean that? Or
Yeah, and actually something popped up. So how old are you in your ninth grade? What grade are you in? Is that third?
In ninth grade?
No,
Or when you're
9-year-old.
9-year-old?
Is that
Yeah.
third or fourth?
Yes. When you're 6, you're in first grade. So
Okay, so I do have something. I just thought of it. So one of the aspects of right around the time when I was 9 or 10, I discovered that I have insane test anxiety. I know when it started, I know where I was in math class in third grade, and I feel like that might have been around that same time, but it's definitely been a hindrance throughout my whole life, through school, through grad school, through getting my acupuncture boards passed. Like all of that started when I was in third grade. I remember the teacher, I remember the time, I remember the multiplication tables I had to repeat in my head
recite.
time and time again. Like I was a ball of stress going to school around that period of time, like to the point where I started like pulling my hair out and doing like all kinds of crazy stuff because I was so anxious. And that's also the time that I learned that I have like anxious tendencies as well.
what tendencies?
Anxious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Rex, just a moment while you're digesting that, I'd like to insert something as well, because one of the elements of the Orinoco Flows community is that we're inviting people to experience outside of their rational mind.
Okay.
Right? To experience the subconscious mind. So when we think of the subconscious mind, we think of, dreams or abstract thinking.
Okay.
And one of the things when Rex mentioned deserving, like what happened in the space for you? I'm just curious, like what happened in your body when the word deserving landed?
I definitely felt it through my chest. It was like heavy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just noticing that, but sitting next here. So I wanted to just bring that in. Mm-hmm. While we're discussing, because you've talked to me a lot. I mean, when we started working together, mm-hmm. I'm a craniosacral therapist and work with neuropsychosomatics. But that was something that was interesting to me, was this test thing, because you brought it up. I mean, you're like, I work in the wine world. I love the wine world. But but you've been fighting to get into the acupuncture world, and you felt like that healing and coming in connection with people in that way was a direction that you really wanted for yourself.
Oh, without a doubt.
But you've been almost blocked from it because
Yeah.
this board, and you even mentioned to me that the board exam itself is like, it's so opposite of what acupuncture is. It's like left brain testing applied to an ancient healing
Wisdom.
modality. That's and you're like, when I work on the body, like it comes alive for me. I know all these things and I can do it with my hands. But when I get to take the test, it's like
fear,
I
instant
shut
fear.
down.
And I think that comes back and stems back to my third grade teacher, Mrs. Gilliard. I'll never forget her.
Sure, that period of
I know.
as you started to chat, that period of 9 years came up in my mind in that particular period, like what went on as regards something like, just some part, because, as a 9-year-old, it's like, just whatever out there, there's a spontaneity, there's a like things, let's go and run, let's kind of whatever. And then, those dents, at times, unless we step out of them, can be a shadow for a very long time in our lives, in our life, and how we live it. And I just sense that is there. I'm going to make a suggestion around that for you as regards that level of anxiousness. What goes on with your hands? I mean, as regards when you're anxious, what happens with your hands?
Oh gosh. Normally when I have anxious tendencies, it's mostly like headache. It's very here. I will physically give myself a headache when I'm really stressed out, or like around my neck, it feels super tense. That's typically where I feel anxiety in my body.
Okay.
I don't really recall my hands, but
do you do anything with your hands as regards a ritual?
I don't think so. Not that
I'm watching you hold your hands right now.
I know I'm doing this, but I'm not doing it from an anxious place. It's just kind of a comforting place, I think. I don't know.
No, I'm not. By the way, I'm not necessarily suggesting hands in anxiety or feeling tense. I'm not suggesting that. I'm on another level with your
just in
acupuncture.
general.
Yes, I'm on another level with your acupuncture, which has a lot to do with the extension of your chi and all of these kinds of things. And I just have a feeling that to engage your hands as part of but it's just part of your self-expression, but as part of like a new way of being, of opening some new doors for yourself, in the sense of, and this has a this has a kind of like a double quality to it, double in the sense of like, at one level you're doing it physically and it will impact your body and mind, but at another level, some part of yourself in doing it, you are congratulating yourself, and it's about clapping.
Okay. I typically
and I mean this in a very sort of I'm coming from it. Yes, it's very physical, but I'm coming from it as from a spiritual domain as regards this, because the hands, I think you know this, in a certain part of the brain, it's like 70% of that aspect of the brain. I mean, I can't remember the name of it. The tongue is a big part of it too, and the hands are a big part of it. So in clapping your hands, you are activating certain centers in your brain. And at the same time, symbolically, you are giving yourself a round of applause.
That's brilliant. I'll try it.
Don't just try it, just engage with it and just like have it like be a part of the practice in a place of surrender. And to add another dimension to it, it's like you're doing it by the Orinoco. The Orinoco River, you're clapping, and the Orinoco River is blessing you. And the nine fire is having a sense of resonance. Because, there's fire, which is, of course, the flame, but there's also fire in the sense of when something has burnt a while and it just sort of has a resonance in the wood or whatever, it brings that. So your face, your expression is very different now with doing this. No, really, I'm not teasing you or flattering you. It's there. Yeah.
No, it's so fun. Like my whole life, I just want to play. I just want to have fun. And this is fun for me.
Yeah, sure. So that would be my, that's the suggestion I have with this as regards doing that. I feel at many levels, at one level, the nine fire is being acknowledged because you're applauding yourself. And I think with your work, with writing a test, with doing your needles, with working with the wine or whatever, there's just all of that, the extension of the energy from your hands has other levels of communication for your being that, will open doors for you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for that.
My pleasure, Kristen. And if there's a particular fragrance you like, you could explore that with your hands when you clap. Not a lot, just maybe a drop and the clapping. Yeah, explore that. And I look forward to getting some feedback about that because although I share a lot and I do readings, with students and clients and whatever, it's always a learning curve for me because real life experiences, I'm always learning. This is work in progress.
Yeah.
The book has never been closed. It's always open with new experiences. Christiana could tell you, like last night, there were certain, dots that happened that I haven't, had before in over 4 decades of working with clients, with a lady with her son and different aspects. I mean, there were just certain things which was just like, okay, this is something entirely different than I've looked at over the decades. So yeah. So I look forward to hearing the clap ritual and how the Dying Fire Star is applauded in life.
Okay, I'm excited to find out and let you know. Thank you.
Sure, and this is coming to me now. And if you can find a time to do it, like the last 5 to 10 minutes before going to sleep at night, would be more potent because that's a time when the subconscious mind becomes more activated.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much for that, Rex. Just with the clapping with you, I know there's a softness in the room that has entered in. And I know when you had mentioned about your chest, that there's a warmth here.
Mm-hmm.
But I love, this is what we're all about. We wanted just to give a small snippet of information that we're sending out to those who are listening and who are interested in the Orinoco Flows and the 9th star key. And what is their child star number and what does it all mean? Mm-hmm. So it was simple. You could see that Rex, in just a few minutes, could access something deep about you and relate it back to early time.
Oh, yeah.
And then give you something very simple that's a ritual. He's suggesting a ritual that you do that is at a different level. It's not just let's clap our hands. But I love that, Rex, when you took us down to the water on the Orinoco, the element of water, and she's engaging in this applauding of herself. So I just thought it was really beautiful and it flowed really nicely. So for all those that are listening, we're going to be posting more information like this with interviews with individuals as well as within groups, because Rex mentioned the magic comes alive when we have more than 2 or 3 people gathered and the Orinoco and the elements start coming alive and working with our beings, like very, like, as you said, nourishing our child star, nourishing our soul. So I look forward to much more with you, Rex. And you
My
mentioned,
pleasure, Christiana. And do keep in touch, Kristen. And because, yeah, it's a learning curve for me. It's not like, and oftentimes it's in the moment, certain rituals just come to me to suggest rather than, this was written down somewhere and I'm bringing it up. It's just in this moment, being with you, that thought crossed my mind, and it fits the 9 for a star. Plus, it fits you taking charge of your life, because we take charge of our lives with our hands.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yes,
Like we do things with our hands,
Yeah.
and so you bring in the 9 fire right here, and if your imagination can stretch to the Orinoco, you'll find that has another level of healing and blessing that starts occurring for you. So yeah,
I can't wait to learn more. Thank you.
my
yes.
pleasure, Kristen.
Thank you, Rex. And we'll put here in the feed below on the YouTube, we want people to come and explore more about this. If this piques your interest and you're still like, what is this exactly? That's what we're trying to do, is an invoke curiosity in people who are interested in empowering themselves through nourishing more of their soul. We do have a Facebook community, the Orinoco Flows. And I have links to that here posted through this YouTube. So you can gain insight more by coming in and seeing the posts that we're providing folks out there. So thanks everyone again.
Thanks.
Thank you.